Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Lara and I have been on a makeup no-buy, effective no-buy, kind of low-buy for over 2.5 years. And when I transitioned from my no-buy to my low-buy, I decided that I needed to shake things up a bit. You know, I didn't want to kind of get stagnant with my relationship to makeup. I still wanted it to feel like fun, and I didn't want to derive all of my makeup joy from bringing new things into my collection, just buying a bunch of stuff. So I decided to try a new project. Now, previously I had been doing a project pan, which I'm still doing, but I decided to implement a project Pan Those Eyeshadows as well. So that is what I'm going to be talking about today. This is the second Pan Those Eyeshadows video and the first update. So in that first video, it was really just an introduction where I was talking about the eyeshadows that I was going to be using. And now I will be talking about how that went. It was 2 months, so these last 2 months with those eyeshadows, whether I like them, whether I'm going to be rolling any of them out or changing things up a little bit. So yes, let's get into it. Now, I have actually not sat down and filmed a video for, I want to say like a month and a half now, honestly. I had pre-filmed so much content because my August and September were just wild. I knew I would not be able to film anything. And so right now, this is Wednesday, September 29th, and this is going up on Saturday, October 2nd, which is just a couple days leeway. And I've never filmed something so close. But that is just, as you can tell, how hectic my life is right now. Luckily, I do have a bit more flexibility with my life and scheduling right now because I have gone back to school. I'm doing my PhD now, whereas before I was working, so it was a bit more strict. So I'm happy to have somewhat more flexibility, but that does not mean that life has gotten any less hectic. I'll talk about one aspect of why things have been crazy at the end of this video. I will be recapping my experience at TIFF, the Toronto International Film Festival. I usually talk about a book that I've read recently, but I saw Dune, so I'm just gonna have to talk about that. Stick around to the end to hear my thoughts. So yeah, stay tuned for that. Everyone else who doesn't care about my personal life, no worries. Let's just talk about the eyeshadows. So this next month, I'm going to be rolling out one eyeshadow and bringing one new one in. If you follow me on Instagram, you probably have seen this coming because I effectively said that I was getting rid of something. So why don't we just start with that? This is the Maybelline Color Tattoo 24-Hour Metal in Gold Rush. I actually have my nails done today. What a surprise. Usually they're a disaster. You can see it's a really pretty color, but the issue with this is that it requires too much kind of like rubbing to get it to set down, and when you do get it down, it's not consistent. So can you see how it's kind of patchy, like it's thicker in some places than others? When I would put this on my eye, it would just kind of like gather in clumps. It looked good from afar, but if you saw me up close, you'd be like, why does her eyeshadow look like that? I will insert some images so you can actually see what I mean, because I'm not wearing this today, obviously. Beautiful color, but it's not worth it. Like, it's just not, it's too old, it's not a good formula anymore, so unfortunately, I will be decluttering that. And at the end, I'll talk about which eyeshadow I'm actually going to be bringing in. Next, let's continue on with the gold, actually. So I had a very warm-toned kind of palette look for this first rendition of Pan Those Eyeshadows, just because most of my eyeshadows are very warm toned. I don't really like cool toned eyeshadows on me, but this is like next level. Like 2 of them are reds, we've got like a rose gold pinky color, and then 2 golds. So yeah, but this is from Wet n Wild. I can get it open. There we go. So that's what it looks like. Now this looks like it would be super chunky, but actually it has not a super obvious payoff. This is more like a topper eyeshadow, but I use it on its own and actually really like the effect that it gives. Let me just swatch that there. It's almost like a glitter nail polish with the glitter being like kind of well dispersed. And I have been loving that shadow with one of the other shadows in this project, wearing those 2 together. I've been wearing that look for the past like 4 days in a row, I think, so I can pop in some pictures. I was going to wear that today for when I film this video, but I didn't know if I'd be able to film today. It's this whole thing, but I will wear that look probably in a future video just because I love the way that it's been turning out. There is a little bit of a dip in there, but honestly, I don't think you'd be able to see anything, and it's difficult to tell how much product there is because it's kind of like, it's very spongy. It's a very strange consistency. I don't have any other eyeshadows that are this consistency, but yeah, I've been enjoying using it, so I'm gonna keep that in, and I'm glad that I included it because I hadn't really used it much before, even though I'd had it in my collection for quite a while. I'm also wearing this yellow shirt today. I've just been loving yellow and gold this past summer, and I figure, you know, we're in the fall now. It's kind of time to transition over into sweaters. So this is probably the last video that I can wear an off-the-shoulder shirt for. Anyways, this next one is from NYX. I don't even know what color it is. It honestly doesn't say on here. Oh no, a chunk just fell out. Okay, it was a very small chunk. One day, 2 of my products took a tumble randomly. They just like fell off the bathroom sink. This one didn't have as bad result as the other product that fell off, but anyways, you can see that there's a little bit of chunks falling out there. You still can't really tell that I've used this that much. Like, you can see a bit of a finger imprint, but there's still like lines dividing the 4 different sections, so I could definitely get more use out of this if I wanted to. I think this is easier for me to use because it's just like a better quality eyeshadow, and I use it without it being part of this project, whereas the other ones I was having a bit of trouble actually using them. And I should say also, it's probably obvious by now, I haven't tracked how much I've used each of these. I just figured I would only be able to like stay accountable and keep to this if I didn't have to worry about actually marking off every single product that I'm using every single day. But I might be doing that for this next round, just to know how many times I use these things. But I feel like I have a generally good sense, but I can't tell you numbers like, oh, I use this 20 times, I use this 10 times. I don't know. I'm gonna guess this I used 10 times. This I used close to 10 times, maybe not quite 10 times. This one I probably used 15 times. It was just easier to use. And then these next 2, I think I used a lot more. Wow, you can already see how this eyeshadow is kind of flaking. Can you see that? Like, yeah, it just doesn't, not great, too bad. Okay, and then moving on, I feel like these next ones were actually the stars of the show. Like, I got a ton of use out of each of these. I would say that I used both of these 20 times over the course of the past 2 months because I was really trying, and you can actually see the progress that has been made for kind of different unintended reasons. Basically, okay, let's start with this one. This one is red. This was like my favorite eyeshadow before, but it somehow got like hard pan on top, and I didn't even realize that that's what had happened. But I think in the comments last time, people were like, it's hard pan, you need to scrape it off or whatever. So I did. I probably could have done it in a better way. I maybe could have used tape or something. I don't even know if I have tape here. But I just decided to use like an implement, like a nail, not a nail file, but something like that to scrape off a little bit. And it turns out there's a lot less product in here than I thought, which maybe is a good thing, because 1 layer down and you can already see that I hit pan. Now, I don't know if this really counts as hitting pan because it was like the implement that hit pan. It wasn't like me using it that did it, but I hit pan on an eyeshadow already, so good job, I guess. Now, I used to love that there was kind of like gold flecks in here. I don't love that so much anymore. I wish this was just a matte red, but it somehow doesn't really show too much on the eyes, so it's okay, it's not too bad. And after scraping off the hard pan, this applies much, much better now, and I've been using this a ton. I think this is the other one that I was using like for the past 4 days in a row with this gold one. Used in conjunction, they just look beautiful, so I'll include some pictures. I did some Instagram stories where I tried on some new products, and in that video, that's the combo that I was wearing, and a lot of people responded being like, how did you do your eyeshadow? There were people who were like actually my friends in real life, so that was very nice. And then this final one, this one had already broken. I don't even remember how, but you can see that it's all like in pieces. Now, I was still able to use it. I just stick my brush in there and a little bit comes off. But I think if I want to continue using this, I should probably repress it. It's just that I like the little like grooves in there, you know, the way that the eyeshadow looks. Like, I just think that it's nicely arranged, so that's why I haven't done that yet. I know that after you repress something, it just looks like kind of old and reformulated, and not that this doesn't look old and like broken, but anyways, I have loved this color a lot more than I used to, because I think in the past couple months before this project, I was just kind of like, oh, it's kind of purpley, like I don't love that so much anymore. But this, I have been using this in conjunction with my Fenty Duo, which I've talked about at length, and I actually came up with like one of my favorite eyeshadow looks I've ever done, and that was in one of my previous videos. I will link that here. I just love the look of this with that like gold shimmer. just beautiful. It's kind of funny because when I watch other people who've done these videos, they talk about like all of the different combinations that they do with eyeshadows, different looks they tried, whereas when I find something I like, I just kind of stick to it. Not for that long, but like a couple weeks. That's the look I'll do for like every time I like leave the house for those couple weeks. So with this more purpley one, I found that Fenty gold look with it, and then with this more red one, I found this other gold look with it, and that's just like what I found suits. I really like those looks, so I just kept replicating them, and I'm sure that it will be the same over the next couple months. I'll find other looks that I love, like this NYX one. This would pair. Maybe the reason that I didn't use this one as much was because I didn't find things that paired with it as well. So like I've been obsessed with using that Fenty duo, and so obviously I tried it with all the other products that I've been using, and then of course I wanted to get more use out of this, so I paired it with that other eyeshadow. But this one, like, it's, let me swatch it for you. It's like a pinky color, right? So it doesn't really go with the red, it doesn't really go with the purple. Maybe I could try it with the purple actually, because this is a shimmer, so I mostly just used it like kind of all over the whole lid, but I'll have to experiment with that a little bit more. Maybe I could pair these two together. Enough blabbering on about how it's gone the past 2 months. Let me introduce you to the new eyeshadow that I will be bringing into the project for this next round. Next round? Is this a round? Okay, here we are. This is the Tarte Metallic Shadow in Speak Easy. I've only used this maybe twice. I think once, but possibly twice, which you can really tell in here. I used it in a video, like a get ready with me video, where I tried it out, and I really liked it, but it was really similar to a shade that I already had, which kind of disappointed me. But let's swatch it. I don't even remember what this looks like. Yeah, very browny. I think I had hoped it would be a little lighter in color. Can you see how that shows up a little bit darker on my finger? Obviously it's gonna look different on the eye. This was a terrible swatch, oh my god. Yeah, it almost works better as like an eyeliner than an eyeshadow. Like I rarely go this dark all over the lid, or even in my crease. That's a little bit dark for in the crease. Plus it's shimmery, so it's like, how do you even wear a dark shimmer? I don't know. So I'm gonna try that all over the lid. I'm probably gonna try it with the sort of rose gold shadow, so just like a full-on shimmery look. I'll see what I can come up with, but I just feel like if I don't intentionally use that, I'll neglect it. Despite the fact that it's like brand new and I was so excited about it, I ended up neglecting it because that first time using it was like, you know, it was a little bit of a letdown. But I really want to make a concerted effort to use it. And so I think what I'm gonna do, I have this notebook. I'm going to track how often I use these. I'm not going to track my whole project pan or how often I use every single item, just these 5 things. I think I can do that, but we'll see how it goes. I'm saying this now. I don't know, you know, maybe I'll give up after a couple days, but I really want to see how much I'm actually using these things rather than just sort of guessing. Yeah, that is it for the eyeshadow part of this video. This is the first time that I'm doing a project that's not project pan, so hopefully I'm doing this right. I don't really even know if there's rules. I think everyone can do it how they like, but if you are interested in other project pan videos, then I can link that playlist right here. And now I'll talk a little bit about my experience at the film festival. So yeah, I mainly want to talk about Dune, because if I just start talking about TIFF, I'm gonna have way too much to say. Essentially, Dune was excellent adaptation. If you haven't read the book and you're planning to see the movie, honestly, there is no movie that I would more suggest you read the book first than this one, because people are going to be so confused. This is a sci-fi book, right? Like, there is so much terminology that Frank Herbert created. It's just going to be very hard to keep up. And like the terminology, it's not in English. It's like, I mean, it's not in a like Earth language, if that makes sense. A lot of it is kind of like Arabic derived, but it's not English. So I think it's going to be difficult, even more difficult for English speakers to understand. Also, just in general, read the book before you see the movie. Like, just, and I think people should generally do that, mostly because like I always encourage people to read more books, to read more. Casting was pretty great across the board. I'm sorry, I didn't even mention Hans Zimmer, who wrote the score and has written some of the best scores of the past decade. That's all I have to say. Visuals were just amazing. like so great to watch. Of course I'm gonna go see it again. I got to see it in IMAX, so definitely go see it in IMAX. Go see it on the biggest screen that you can. If you haven't been back to the theaters before COVID, just enjoy. Because my work and like schooling has been specifically in film and film festivals, I've gotten an industry pass to the festival either through work or like got it as a student for like many years now, and so I like really know the ins and the outs of the festival. So like Dune was literally the hottest ticket at the festival, and I was only able to get it because it was an industry screening, like it wasn't public. Villeneuve, the director, wasn't there or anything. But yeah, I got to see a lot of screenings. Actually, a lot of actors, directors, and talent were here for the festival, and there's very strict regulations. Everyone had to be vaccinated. If you're going to a theater, you had to wear masks the whole time you were in your seat, everything. But it was still, you know, it was still a festival, so it was amazing. I'm so happy that it was on this year and that I got to experience it. I saw so many great docs and narratives, and I'm just looking forward to the day when like things go back to normal and TIFF is like regular TIFF, because it's kind of like the best part of the year. Like if you are someone in Toronto who's into film, you go to TIFF. Like it's a huge thing here. And if you don't live in Toronto but you are interested in movies, honestly, I highly encourage you to look for film festivals in your city, because they're just such an exciting experience and so different from just like your average everyday movie going experience. Usually they're not that much more expensive than just going to the theater, and you actually get to like hear from the people who made the movies and from the actors. If you are like into celebrity stalking, like you can do that at festivals too. So yeah, I just want to encourage people to like, especially young people, to go to film festivals, because I feel like it's a thing that everyone does, but I know that that's not really the case. And that's just because I'm kind of in this like insulated community. But I'm gonna stop yammering on about that. That's all for this video. Thanks so much for watching. If you are excited to see Dune when it comes out October 22nd, let me know below. Or if you have seen any movies recently or you go to film festivals, I would love to hear where you're from and what festivals you usually go to. There's a ton of great ones in Toronto, so I'm not even gonna get onto that. And I also have a podcast on movies, so if this is something you're interested in, definitely check out my podcast below. The podcast is called Watch the Film With Us. We've talked about everything from rom-coms to Disney movies, animated movies, and now we're talking about action. We did like The Dark Knight, we did musicals, so yeah, please check us out down below. We also have a YouTube channel, and I would love if you watch me there. Oh, one more thing. If you have any ideas for what I should post on Instagram, I was having a great time for like the first 2 weeks of having a makeup Instagram, and now I have no idea what to post. I'm not joking. So let me know down below what you would like to see from me. Feel free to follow me on there. And yes, okay, that's actually gonna be it. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye. Just to know how many times I eat. Just to know how many times I eat. Oh my god. But I can't tell you numbers. Oh my god. Please be quiet. Why does this happen in every video? Great. 1 sec.